Hello.
Hello.
All right, these are slope notes. So you take the paper that you have right here and you fold it in half. These are going to be glued into your journal. So it says things we know about slope. First of all, there are some R words, one over the other, that was talked about yesterday in yesterday's notes. It looked like this. Ooh, good job. Rise over run. Rise over run is where we take the change in the Y values, or the up and down change, and we put it over the side to side change, which is called the run. So rise goes up and down this way, run goes side to side. You take those numbers and you divide them to find the slope. Slope is also called rate of change. There are a few different types of slopes that we can find, but it's important to read the graph. Y'all know which way we read the graph? Read the graph.
Left to right.
Left to right. Good job. So everybody write left to right. You read it just like a sentence. Left to right. So if we're reading these graphs from left to right, this one right here is positive. So now can you point to the positive slope graph or its line? And I just wrote it. All right. Now point to the negative line. You don't have to, anybody. Negative. And this one is a little tricky. It's 0 because it's flat. Oh, good job, Chloe. This one is undefined. So there's different types of slopes. One is positive. It goes up. As long as we're reading from left to right, we can see that this one is going up, positive, and this one's going down, negative. This one's not going up or down, so it's 0. And the one that is straight up and down doesn't actually even have a slope. It's called undefined. Other words for slope. We said it at the top. What's another word for slope?
Rate of change.
Rate of change. Rate of change. Here's something else you're going to hear me say. Change in Y values over change in X values. This is the same thing as rise over run. Rate of change is the same thing as change in Y over change in X. That's what we're dividing. And then rise over run is basically the same thing. All right, once you got that, we're going to open it up to the front. If you guys don't get that, I'll turn it back to you in just a second, okay? When we're done with the video. So, at the very top, we have 2 lines. I can tell one is positive and one is negative. We're going to find the slope of both of these lines using that little technique called rise over run. So, rise over run. We take 2 dots. It's very important to find 2 dots. And it could be anywhere. It could be these 2 dots or these 2 dots or these 2 dots or whatever, those 2 dots. Doesn't matter. Whichever dots you're going to find, you're going to take the rise number and put it on top of the run number. So if we're reading the graph from left to right, we start with the left point. We choose a point and we move to the right, like we're reading a sentence, like that. So if I start with this point, I'm going to go kind of count how much it's going to take me to go up and over. This amount right here would be my rise. This amount would be my run. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4. Run 1, 2, 3. And that's it. That is my slope. 4 over 3. All right, the next one, slope. Let's start with the leftmost point. It's hard to see because this line is so steep, which remember we're finding this slope. This is a negative slope, which tells me that instead of rising and running, I'm technically going to go down and run. So my rise is going to be a negative value. It looks like I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do those little curvy things to help me count. So down 5 over 1. Technically, negative 5 divided by 1. Does anybody know what that is? Negative 5 divided by 1? It's negative 5. Negative 5 divided by 1 is negative 5. And I just want to side note something real quick. If I would have taken this dot and gone all the way to that dot. You don't have to draw this part on your paper. If I would have rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm gonna just put it over here. If I was rising 8 and running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to get to that next dot, 8 over 6 reduces down to 4 over 3. It's the same answer as I got originally. So it technically doesn't matter which 2 points you try to do it from, if you do it from, but whatever points you do, it is going to give you the same answer. All right, what happens if they don't give you a line, they just give you coordinates? Guess what you're going to do? Draw the coordinates. Yeah, you're going to make your own line, that's it. All right, so if I have -6 and -3, later. -6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -3 is a dot right here. There's the coordinate. Allison, you want to point to that dot? Point to that dot for me.
This one?
Yep, that is me. Yep. There's the
Right
dot.
here.
The next dot is 3, -1, which is 3, -1 down here. So now you want to point to that dot? Point to that dot that I just made. Yeah, there's that dot that I just made. All right, if I were drawing a line through these dots, try your best to connect the dots. Your line probably won't look as straight as mine. It's okay. We're going to do rise and run to figure out the slope of this line. So from this dot to this dot, I got to make a perfect little, and it kind of looks like a perfect triangle. It's going to tell me how much I have to go up. I have to go up 1, 2 boxes. So up 2, over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2 over 9. And if I put 2 over 9 in my calculator, it actually doesn't reduce. It would just give you another 2 over 9, which is the answer. So fractions are okay for slope. You don't have to put them in decimal form. Fractions is okay because technically this is rise over run, and that is how slopes look. All right, the next one says 0, 4, which is here. And this is the y-axis. Oh, that's a y-intercept. Ah. And the next one is 5, 0, which is here. It's technically an x-intercept. We don't really deal with x-intercepts very much, but it is. All right, and then you try to connect the dots as best as you can, and we're going to find the slope of this. Remember, we find slope using the rise over run method, where we take the leftmost dot and go to the right. So it looks like this line is it going to be positive or negative? Negative. It's going down. So it's going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to put a -4 for the rise. And my run is going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -4 over 5 is my slope for that one.